Coming up this week on the OK Bloomer podcast.
TVDB says Blossom gets drunk on spiked punch at a frat party and wakes up nude in a stranger's bed. Rhonda moves in with Anthony while her apartment is fumigated. Joey gets a gorgeous math tutor. And, before you get into it, IMDb tells me that this is a top-rated episode.
Wow.
So you can see if you agree with that or not.
I guess when the description says Blossom gets drunk and wakes up naked, people are going to watch it.
Don't know about the future. Don't.
They don't care about the future, cause they live it in the past. Sal and Curtis are taking all 5 seasons of Blossom to task. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll be weak in the knees. This show's got more range than Nick on the keys. Only gal in the house, and that's how she goes. One brother was a junkie, and the other one was. Weekly lessons coming fast in the Russo flat. Blossom's teenage girl problems are as big as her hat. So take your opinionations and make them shine. It's the OK Bloomer podcast, and it's about damn time.
Don't know. Don't know. Don't know.
You are watching the OK Bloomer podcast.
Maybe take another run at it.
Okay.
I missed the button the first time. Sorry.
Nice.
Cut that.
Boom! Oh,
Yeah.
I hit the.
I was doing it with my left hand because I
I
gotta
hit
have my
the
right hand on the
emergency
button.
eject
Come
button
on.
instead. Come back. You are watching the OK Bloomer podcast. This is where Sal, Accardo, and Curtis Anderson go back in time. We go back to the early 90s and blend our memories with the Russo house. That's right. We have been watching every single episode of the popular TV show Blossom and analyzing it and really digging deep, getting to the bottom of these storylines and how they were represented in 1992 and even compared to today. We've laughed a lot, we've learned a lot, Sal. Feedback has been great, and I'm just committed and continued to the journey that is the OK Bloomer podcast right here in its new home on the damn network, the Dufferin Avenue Media Network. They dug up the corpse of this idea and they gave it the old defibrillator. They said, "Come back to life."
Yeah,
like
you know
Mary
what? Shout
Shelley's
out
Frankenstein.
Hey, good callback, man. Good
Mary
callback
Shelley
to last
apparently
week.
wrote last week's episode.
Yeah.
We have some drinks.
And
we
a
have some
whole-
laughs. It's just a couple
and a
of
whole lot of episodes of Care Bears.
right.
Yeah.
See, you and your male friends might get together and watch the big game. We watch
No,
Blossom.
I don't think that's ever happened in my life. Yeah.
No. See, that's what we do. That's what real men do. We watch Blossom. Talk about it.
That's right, and we
We'll
talk about it. And there's no stopping this train now, man. We're like almost halfway through this journey,
No.
and we're gonna keep going.
I choose to deliver outstanding content for everyone. Right? That's the Blossom. That's the OK Bloomer promise. You think you might.
Love it.
You might think you don't need it, but you need it.
Oh, you do.
You walk
You do.
away mad at us, but then it's just like it builds, it stews. You can't stop thinking about it, and I get it. I mean,
That's
we're
right.
hilarious.
That's right.
So it's like planting that seed.
We're
and
like,
welcome back. The hug's big enough for all our haters. We'll prodigal son, all of y'all. You'll be back, and we'll love you. We'll love you when you come back.
it's true. True story. We're like that earworm that you just can't get rid of, man. It's like, you're like, I can't deal with this. Okay, Bloomer
Earworm,
business.
lice,
And you walk away
and
for a bit.
herpes in one giant bowl mixed together.
We're
Thrown
not
out.
going anywhere.
Thrown out to
We're
our
not
audience.
going anywhere.
Yeah,
All right. I think we should get into it. We got
Let's
a lot
go.
to talk about today.
we do. Do your thing, Phenom.
Season 3, Episode 12, The Frat Party, directed by Bill Bixby, written by J.J. Wall, first aired on November 23rd, 1992, to 21.3 million viewers. Disney Plus says Blossom wakes up in a dorm after drinking spiked punch at a party. IMDb also says Blossom wakes up in a dorm after drinking spiked punch at a party. They are identical this week.
Whoa, that's a first.
Nice.
TVDB,
Will we ever get 3 for 3?
Maybe. TVDB says Blossom gets drunk on spiked punch at a frat party and wakes up nude in a stranger's bed. Rhonda moves in with Anthony while her apartment is fumigated. Joey gets a gorgeous math tutor. And before you get into it, IMDb tells me that this is a top-rated episode.
I
Wow.
know.
So you
Noticed
can
that.
see if you agree with that or
Yeah.
not.
I guess when the description
Okay.
says Blossom gets drunk and wakes up naked, people are going to watch it. Right? Crazy. They really lowballed
Yeah.
that part too, but we'll get into it.
Sure.
Okay, we start. Blossom and Vinny are on the couch where they're arguing because that's all they do on the couch is argue. They don't do anything interesting on the couch. Just ask Vinny. So Vinny wants to go to Las Vegas to the car show, and Blossom says, "You'd rather look at cars than me." Got him, Blossom. Got him.
Yep. Yeah, and then Vinny does like this weird reverse psychology thing where he gets Blossom to admit that if he stayed home, she would just be sulking the whole weekend, knowing that he could have been spending the weekend at the car show, so he should just go anyways. And he's like, "All right, fine, see ya." And then he leaves, and Blossom realizes what happened, and that's
You
the
got
whole
played,
cold
girl.
open.
You got played.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's at the car show now.
Yep.
Yep.
In Las Vegas.
You were just at Las Vegas. Was there a car show?
I'm sure there was.
Yeah, is that a thing? I don't think I've ever heard
There's
of a
a lot-
car show in Las Vegas. I've heard of everything but a car show in
Really?
Las Vegas. Yeah, is that a big thing? I honestly don't
Maybe.
know.
Couldn't tell you.
This isn't
I
a
don't know a
bit.
lot about. Yeah, no, that's fair. I don't know a lot about Las Vegas. I'm sure they do have car shows. They have
yeah.
a convention center, so
Oh yeah. All right.
there you go.
I'm
Interesting
once again
Las Vegas.
the
fact.
uninformed idiot. I'm very sorry to the large amount of viewers that watch OK Bloomer that attend the Las Vegas car shows. Apologies for not knowing that. Okay.
I'm not a car guy though. I'm not a car guy.
I love
so
how we're
think
not
I'd
car
ask.
guys, not a sports guy. We're
Yeah.
Blossom guys.
We just watch Blossom and wrestling and
Do you like my shirt, by the way? This was the
yeah, that's
2020 Junos that were supposed to come to Saskatoon and got canceled because of COVID. They started
Oh,
blowing
wow.
these shirts out.
did they ever come back?
No, God, no.
Hmm.
I have a theory that the 2020 Junos were responsible for the pandemic because they just didn't want to come to Saskatoon. And you laugh, but you just really start to think about it. It makes sense,
Sure.
right?
I mean, I don't know why anybody in Saskatoon would want to go to the fucking Junos anyways, but I don't know why
Who's that,
anybody in Canada would want to.
Who's that Canadian crooner that was popular like 20 years ago, but we still pretend he's popular and he hosts every year?
Is it Michael Bublé?
What's
Yeah,
your
the
problem
boob.
what's your-
He was like, I ain't
What's your
going to
problem with Michael
Saskatoon.
Bublé?
What?
What's your problem with Michael Bublé?
Oh, sorry, I didn't know you were a fan. Sorry. Jeez.
Of course I'm a fan. I have ears and a heart, Curtis.
I give you permission
No,
to
but
dunk on Michael Bublé.
Wow. Phenom coming in with some attitude. It's not a Bublé house, okay?
All right.
We're not part of the boob army, Sal.
Apparently not.
All right? It's different out there in Ontario.
Sure. In general though, I just like any kind of Canadian award show. Who gives a I mean,
Fair.
any award show in general,
Yeah.
but like really.
How much
I don't-
hardware
I
can
don't
you
see the-
stack on poor Katie Lang? We get it. It is fun though when we do get artists that gets like a little bit of recognition outside of our borders, and it's just like Junos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched the
But it's
Junos
like,
this
I
year. I
don't know,
didn't know 90% of them.
You actually watched
Bublé
the
and I were the
Junos?
only. We're the only. He's the only guy I knew. We were the only pals from back in the day. We represented the old generation.
Did
he
the
and I.
Moffats
The
did the
Moffats were
Moffats
not
do a
on there, though.
reunion at the Junos?
Did they? Are
I
you
don't
serious? I don't know. I don't know. I can't tell. You're throwing me off. Michael Bublé did a skit and he invited his dumb wife on stage with him, and it was a train wreck. Absolute train wreck. That was
Fair
when
enough.
I turned it off. Yeah, that's my Juno story. Hey, we worked the Junos, remember?
No,
Were
I
you there
didn't
yet? You weren't
do
there.
it.
That was right before you started at the old
was
community
before
TV
my time,
station.
yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, is that the one where the guy from Headley threw your microphone flash?
Yeah, that's right. Google
And
it.
now
I
he's in
burnt
jail.
Jacob Hogarth before it was cool. I knew. I knew before anybody knew.
He called you a goblin, or
No, he called me a
gremlin?
hobbit.
A hobbit.
It's
Yeah.
on YouTube. I say we
Here
got
on the
one
red
last
carpet, the
interview
last
here
guy
on the
we're
red
gonna talk
carpet.
to
And
is-
it's oh,
it's
it's Headley.
Hey, how's it going, man?
And then he got
Yeah.
mad and he popped the like windsock off my mic and threw it. And then he stroked my face, and God knows where that hand's been. And then he called me a hobbit, and it was really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's the
Yeah.
hobbit now?
Now he's in jail.
Right? You gonna come get me with
Yeah.
your ankle monitor? No, you're not. You're not. All right.
There's got to be a jail joke here somewhere that can tie into Lord of the Rings. I just can't think of it off the top of my head. That
Yeah.
guy too.
It looks
All
like
right.
it looks like
we're
Eye of the
we're really
Sauron
airing
now.
grievances here today.
Was that gross?
Yeah.
That
All
was
right.
the joke, Sal. Thank you. In case anybody didn't get that
Ye-
out there, here comes Sal to hit you over the head with it.
Beep all that out. Beep all that out.
No,
in editing.
it's all
I don't-
good.
I don't want that in there.
What do you do to me? I'm so witty. That's a Headley song. I can't think of another one. It's okay.
I couldn't
Yeah,
think of
today's
one.
episode of the OK Bloomer podcast brought to you by Bars and Tone. It asks if I want to skip the intro. God, are we just there? It asks if I want to skip
We
the
are.
intro, and
I
do
do
not.
Not. I feel like we got to speed it up. I feel like it's got to be sped up a little bit.
Okay. I truly do love the intro as much as I talk about it every week. It's not just a gag. Like, I listen to it intently. I'm like, this song is amazing. This is the greatest, the catchiest jingle intro ever created. I really would. We should do like jingle Olympics or like a tournament.
Tier
Maybe like-
list bracket.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the word.
that's the word. The King of the Ring for old
Yeah.
sitcom opens.
A King of the Ring style tournament for
Yeah.
TV show intros.
We'll do that.
You could absolutely do that.
And this would win, is what I'm saying. This would crush all the other and easily. Okay, Carell Draw and Rhonda Applegate is back. She's moving in with Tony, and Tony is freaking out. Why? I don't know. Oh, my hot girlfriend wants to move in now. Oh.
Yeah, he kind of explains it later, but it's not
Yep.
really. And they did this whole storyline with Six and her mom, like
Yeah.
not that long ago. Their house was being fumigated, and they had to move in together. So
Joey says
yeah,
life is unfair.
recycling storylines.
Joey says life is unfair because Tony gets Rhonda Joe, and I agree. Life is unfair because Tony gets Rhonda Joe. But okay, there's a second part to that. I thought that was it. It's unfair because he gets Rhonda Joe, and Joey gets a quote dorky math tutor. And I said, oh, sounds like someone's gonna get a pretty woman thing going here this episode. He's gonna take that dorky tutor, take off her glasses and ponytail, and make her prom queen. But no, we didn't even get that build. Basically, exactly
He
what
actually
you
didn't
thought
even
would happen.
Yeah, the joke was actually a Star Trek joke because Tony's talking about how he doesn't want to call Rhonda moving in. He doesn't want to refer to it as moving in. She's transporting. And then Blossom says, oh, when does she beam in? And then that's where Joey says it's unfair because Rhonda gets to beam into his bedroom and he's stuck with some Klingon math tutor.
Okay, thanks for explaining that. All the
Well,
Star
you
Trek
just-
fans watching
yeah.
Blossom in 1992 were like, finally, a joke that appeals to me on this show. Thank God.
Yeah. Tony isn't down with her moving in because she's bringing her cat. And then he opens the door and Rhonda's standing there holding a litter box. And that's the joke. He's like, oh, there's a box that you're bringing in that the cat's in my room. That's great.
Nick, God bless this man. He comes in with his mullet, his black baggy sweater, and dark jeans looking like my David Copperfield. This is written
Awesome.
by J.J. Wall, and I said, all right, where are we going today? Tony is sulking. Listen to this. He says he's worried he forgot to hide something he should have because Rhonda Joe is moving in. I don't even know what to do with that
Yeah.
joke. What is he talking about?
Yeah.
Like his porn, his drugs, his action figure collection? Like what? The other woman? What is he hiding?
It was very glossed over. that
I
I
know,
actually
but it
forgot to even
wasn't for
take
me. I was
note
like,
of it.
what are you up to there, Tony? What's going on?
Yeah.
All the EMT
Yeah.
steals. He's got like a pile. He's got 300 stethoscopes. Selling those on 1992 buy and sell. I don't know. Garage sales, I guess, in 1992. But the last thing the Russos need is another garage sale.
Yeah.
So yeah, we find out that she has a cat and he hates cats. So here's Tony shacking up with a supermodel, but she has a cat, so it could all be over. And I swear, since episode 1, I thought Tony was probably allergic to.
yeah.
Couldn't read the room with that
Yeah.
one, but thanks.
Yeah. No, that was
Crickets from Phenom, but that's fine. We'll keep going. Weird framing suddenly. You want to take this one? Weird framing with Six and Blossom. Did you notice that?
Yeah, well, we get like the 3D spin wipe here from the 90s,
And
and
then
Blossom and
suddenly
Six.
Steven Spielberg is here producing Blossom because we're getting
Yeah,
these
I actually
angles.
did take note. There's like a weird close up of Six's face here when she's like sitting in the chair talking to Blossom, and basically, yeah, I agree with the framing. It was off.
It's like an over-the-shoulder shot.
Of Blossom, but then there's like weird cutaway close-ups of Six. Like it was just a really weird angle altogether. Um, so they were invited to a frat party by someone's friend's sister's cousin's roommate. And then Six tries to convince Blossom that it's okay to go because Vinny's at the car show in Vegas. So I guess this week the cold open actually plays into the story, which it doesn't do every week. And Blossom says she doesn't want to go and she wouldn't cheat on Vinny in under any circumstances, which is a change of pace from like 3 episodes ago when she was willing to throw it all away for some musician named Jimmy.
Yeah. Rio's
But
dart
she's
on the
going to the
wall
party
said
anyways.
Blossom won't cheat this week. And we still don't
Yeah.
even know what
There's no
cheating
consistency
means because
here
they've yet to be
whatsoever.
intimate. So we're just
Right.
progressing this
Right.
storyline, just beating this one like a drum. Will they or won't they cheat on each other when, I don't know. We'll just keep dragging along here.
Nothing's consistent here. I noticed in the background there's like a coat rack beside Blossom's bed, and it's just full of Blossom hats. They're all
Amazing.
just like hanging off the coat rack. Yeah.
So
That's
yes,
just a
Tony is
little
allergic to
observation
cats.
there.
That's why he's miserable. And this is the side story. This is the C plot. And Tony thinks Rhonda's cat is actually evil. I thought they could have played with that. This should
Yeah.
have been the Halloween episode 3 weeks ago. Here we go.
I think you're ahead here.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
They
Got
talk
cut off.
about loopholes in getting away with going to this party without Nick finding out. And she's like, "Oh, we'll just tell him that we're going to the movies." And he's like, "Well, what if he asks what movie we're going to see?" And they're like, "He never asks." And then it's a hard cut to Nick being like, "Oh, what movie are you going to see tonight?" And then they say fraternity party. And then this is where they leave. And then Tony comes in and he's like deathly allergic to this cat.
Good cover.
And Nick kind of wants nothing to do with him here. He's just like, "Shut the up, Tony." Like, he's like, "Whatever."
Well, Nick wants nothing more than to like bang Rhonda Joe and never call her back. Like he's like, "Why is she still here, Tony?"
Right.
Like what is happening?
Yeah.
You gave her your real name and address? Like what's the matter with you? I have no son. Yeah, okay. Are you ready to meet Miss Squiggly? Is that her name? Squiggly?
Miss Quigley.
Quigley. That's even
Quigley.
worse.
Yeah.
So we meet Miss Quigley, the like 35-year-old algebra tutor. And of course she's a hottie.
Yeah.
And then
Joey's hiding his boner behind the front door.
Yeah, we cut to them sitting at the kitchen table, and I thought this was actually pretty funny. Joey gets mad at algebra, and he goes, "Why can't they just leave the letters for reading and the numbers for counting?" And hell yeah, he speaks the truth. I hate math. I sucked at math. And that's, he hit that on the head. Amen, Joey Lawrence.
Yeah, I'm with him there for sure.
Yeah.
So the teacher, Miss Quigley, starts unbuttoning her blouse, and she's like really coming on to him. And I felt like this part kind of went on way too long because it was a little too long where I was like, wait, is this actually happening or is this a daydream? Like
I said we're in blank check territory here.
Yeah, it was a little odd. Especially because I don't know how old Joey Lawrence was here, but this actor's clearly like,
she was
a good
old
like
for
15 years older than Yeah.
Easily. She looked really old.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
come out of it, and basically the whole thing in the flashback was like she'll sleep with him if he gets good at math. That's like his fantasy. So we come out of
Yeah.
that, and suddenly he's good at math because
Yeah, he's actually like
that's the means to the end for what he wants, and it was
Yeah.
actually pretty funny. It was a good
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
So at the frat party,
Let's go,
here we
Sal.
are. It's a close-up shot of somebody pouring a whole bottle of vodka into the punch. Some nerd comes in talking to Blossom, and he says he's got a stiff back. I don't know if there was supposed to be a joke there. He invites Blossom up to his room, and she says no, but then he offers her some punch. So she's drinking all this punch down. She's like, "Oh, this punch is really good." And he's like, "Oh, you can have mine, and I'll go get us some more." So Blossom's gonna get in this episode.
So I wrote, we go to the frat party, and I said, I hope some guy named Chunk is hazing the pledges, but no. And then I asked, are you sure Mary Shelley didn't write this episode? Because that nerd guy hitting on Blossom looks like Frankenstein. He's a scary man. He's like 9 feet tall and made out of different body parts. Like, what is that guy's deal? And then, like, here we go. Oh my God, what a teenage girl scenario that could happen comes into an episode of Blossom suddenly out of nowhere. Some guy wants to take six
This
for a
has
ride.
no place in a Blossom episode.
What?
This has no place in a Blossom
I know,
episode.
right? So some guy at the frat party wants to take Six for a ride, and she has lined up a ride home for Blossom. And there's like girl red flags everywhere, and I would love to like hear an actual like female perspective of this scene, like some girl our age looking back, because like were you not as worried about that in 1992? Because I feel like girls today in 2025 would be like, absolutely not. You're not going with him and letting some sketchy guy drive me home. Like, I feel like there's way more awareness about that and like safety and numbers and things like that when you go to parties and drinking open alcohol. So I would love to know if someone our age going to a frat party in like 92, if that was something that like, oh, you know what? I'm not just going to take open alcohol from these weird dudes. But here we are. An actual lesson on Blossom.
Right? Yeah. I think the whole point of this is that Blossom and Six were just being very naive to the whole situation, right?
Yeah.
So
Frankenstein keeps feeding Blossom punch.
Yeah.
Frankenstein
Six fully bails on her.
wants to get her to get her drunk and bring her to life with his lightning, if you know what I mean. Frankenstein sex joke, Sal. Mary Shelley loved it.
I'm sure she did.
Right?
I'm sure she did. So, yeah, we get Carell draw and Blossom drinking the punch, and then we get Carell draw back to the scene.
Carell draw, lush Blossom. Take it away.
Yeah, there's like, it's Blossom waking up to a mirror on the ceiling as it like pans down to her in some sleazy ass bedroom. And then the nerd walks in like a silk robe, and there's a giant. I didn't really pay attention to this. I was distracted by the giant sack of money with a dollar sign on it. And I wrote, if there's a giant sack of money with a dollar sign on it, that means they must have owed Gene Simmons some money. I don't know if you understand that reference, but
I don't, but I want to.
Apparently, Gene Simmons has that copywritten.
That he gets paid in a sack of money with a dollar sign on?
No, that he copywrote a sack of money with the dollar sign on it. So like anytime it's used in anything, he's owed money for that. There's like a whole thing of how Gene Simmons just tried to copyright the most random.
Oh, I know. He tried to copyright OJ as short for orange juice.
Yeah, he tried to copy. Yeah, and apparently he copywrote calling movies motion pictures. There's a whole bunch of things, but yeah, apparently
he wrote the burlap sack of money with a dollar sign on.
Yeah,
that is phenomenal.
That's a
when
Gene
I
Simmons
worked at
copyright
Subway
right
and I had
there.
to walk down the street with a bank deposit every day, I would do that. We had a burlap sack, and I drew a big dollar sign on, and I carried it down, waiting for fucking Mysterio to rob me, and it never happened. It's like I'm meeting Spider-Man one way or another.
Apparently, you owe Gene Simmons a lot of money. You can't just do that all willy-nilly.
When his wife comes back to Saskatoon, I'll make it good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's still no justice in the world, man. Joni Mitchell has her own promenade. Gene Simmons' wife. Nothing. Can't even name a street after her.
Didn't they name a street after her?
I don't think so. Did they?
Yeah, wasn't that the whole point of? Remember they
I
did
don't.
that episode.
Does someone live on
of-
Whore Crescent?
I believe it's called Horror Circle, but
Whore
that's
Circle.
besides the point.
That sounds like Gene Simmons'
No,
wife.
isn't? That was the whole point of that episode. When remember the episode of the reality show that they did where they came back to Saskatoon?
Oh, I remember that episode. I almost got sued for real.
Yeah, they.
Yeah, actually, holy crap! Yeah, I've already lived
Really?
this. Gene Simmons already threatened to sue me once for real.
What?
You didn't know?
I don't
this?
know this
Oh my
story.
god. Okay.
No,
Family
but they
Jewels.
named a street after her in that episode.
Did they? Why can't I think
Yeah.
of her name now? Shannon Tweed. Shannon Tweed. There's a Tweed.
That's right.
Phenom. Is there anything in Saskatoon named Tweed? So
I'll look into it.
Family Jewels came to Saskatoon, and they were shooting all over the city, and they went back to like Shannon's old house, and it was like a trailer.
Yeah.
And then he was going to SaskTel Center, Credit Union Center, to be part of a Blades game, which I work. And so I took the night off because I wanted to go. I had an interview lined up with them during the second intermission. They were doing like a scrum. And I walked in the back door that I always do as staff with Jay and like the camera. And as we walked in, his entourage and him were walking by, and we literally just stepped into this group of 30 people. And like 10 of them had cameras. They had so many cameras for this stupid, like, how many handheld cameras do you need to get this show? So we're in this entourage, and no one notices us, and we followed them around for, honest to God, half an hour. They're in the they're in the dressing room, and he is just so sad. They're trying to put these goalie pads on him, and he's like, "What's happening?" Like, he's just so, he doesn't know. He's just part of this machine, and they're dragging him. They're like, all right, we need to do this. We need to get this on. He's like, what am I doing? Like, just stop 2 shots, and everybody's gonna cheer. And he's just like, ah. And I have footage of this. Like, I'm rolling on all
Nice.
this behind the scenes stuff where he's miserable. And so then finally somebody realizes like that we're not part of it, and we just kind of start backing away and like going up the stairs, and everybody's kind of starting to panic. And so we got out of there, and then we showed up and we did the scrum like after the second period. And yeah, the next morning there was like 10 messages on Sam Charles, our old boss's phone. And he was like, if you air any of that, we will sue you. And they had like this legal thing against our, like ready to go against our little community TV station. And I still have that footage, Sal, and I don't have the balls to release any of it because he'll come after me. Like, he 100%, him or his like people will. If any of that ever went on the internet, they would take the time to find out like who posted it and like kill my YouTube channel. He would. He's that. It would be like battle.
I believe it, but that show's long over, man. I don't think it
No, but
matters
just in
anymore.
general. I mean, come on. He's trying to copyright orange juice and a bag of money. He would not. He would not hesitate to take me down. He would get my YouTube channel destroyed.
Controversy creates cash. You know what I mean?
One petty guy against the other pettiest guy. I know you haven't watched Game
By
of
the way-
Thrones, but it'd be like Battle of the Bastards. It would just be this huge collision, and that's one I can't beat Gene Simmons, man. I can't beat Gene Simmons.
By the way, I don't mean to step on Phenom's toes here, but
Oh, I
a
was
quick
looking it
Google
up.
showed me there's a Tweed Lane in the Rosewood area.
There is a Tweed Lane in Rosewood. There was a CBC article from 2011 saying that there might end up being a street named after her in Rosewood, and today there is a Tweed Lane in Rosewood. So
Nice.
I imagine that's named after her, but it's not 100% confirmed.
Hey, Phenom, look up IMDb Shannon Tweed. Let's get some of these movie titles going. All right?
All right.
Saskatoon's own.
Saskatoon's own. Let's hear. Let's do the life and career of one Shannon Tweed. Her on air.
Okay, this is going to be newest to oldest.
Okay,
Sex, Marriage, and Infidelity.
right away. Let's go.
Seed. A Very Satan Christmas. Republic of Doyle. United States of Terra. SpongeBob SquarePants.
See, that's a hard one to imagine as a porn, but like I'm getting there. You have to imagine all these are like Cinemax movies that air at 2 a.m.
She voiced a mom fish in one episode of SpongeBob.
Hot.
The Parkers. Run of the House, My Guide to Becoming a Rock Star, Wish You Were Dead, Frasier, 2 episodes.
Wow.
Hey baby, I hear the blues are calling, tossed salads and scrambled eggs.
Niles. Get off Shannon Tweed.
Dead Sexy, Diaries of Darkness,
We
The
must have-
Rowdy Girls.
We must have hit 1989 here.
This is 2000.
What? Oh my god.
She's been in a lot. Scandalous Behavior, Forbidden Sins, Get Real, Detroit Rock City, Beggars and Choosers. You can tell me to stop whenever.
No.
We're at 1999. Power Play, Shadow Warriors 2,
Classic.
VIP, Dead by Dawn, Naked Lies, The Tom Show, Java Heads, Stormy Nights. Keep going.
No, we're good.
All right.
Family classics, all of them. What was
Yeah.
it? Satan's Christmas. I watch that every December 24th with the fam.
A Very Satan Christmas
Very
from 2013.
Satan Christmas. Outstanding. We salute you, Shannon Tweed. Good old Saskatoon girl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good stuff. Where are we in the show? Oh yeah. So, it's a drunken Blossom dream. She wakes up hung the over in some strange ass bed. She fell asleep in Terry Baxter's bed. She slept with Billy, the school mascot. He's a goat. All of her clothes are gone because she jumped in the pool and then was wearing a toga and rode the mechanical bull until she threw up all over that nerd. And the guys whose room it is telling her all this while he's folding up a sleeping bag on the couch. And I wrote, she's lucky that she ran into the only non-shady guy in an entire frat house, because there is no way that any of this would have happened for real.
100%. Let me get
Yeah.
let me get caught up here. Okay. Corel draw, Blossom being a lush. Oh my god. She wakes up and she married Marilyn Manson in a smoking robe. That guy was hideous. I did like how she, like, when she wakes up from the dream, she sits up, then she's like, oh, thank God it was just a dream, and she lays back down. Then she snaps awake a second time because she
Yeah.
realizes she's naked in somebody's bed, right?
Yeah.
No, she's wearing the, like, gamma whatever sweater. And then Terry Baxter comes in. I said, didn't he turn into, like, a human fly and fight the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Isn't that him?
That's
So
That's
Yeah,
Baxter Stockman.
you ran through how she took her clothes off and the toga and all that. So yeah, Baxter helped her undress, he tells her, just like absolutely with the delivery of a serial killer. He's like, I
Yeah.
helped you undress, but don't worry, because I'm a med student.
Oh, that makes it better.
Yeah. So don't worry, you'll never get sexually assaulted by a med student. For those of you keeping score at home.
Right.
That's what Blossom taught me this
Right.
week. That was the lesson. That'll be my lesson. I'll do it right now. You will never get sexually assaulted by a med student.
The more you know.
There you go. Lessons everywhere in this one, Sal. Yeah, I said Baxter Stockman gave her some of his clothes, and she walks home and she trips over Tony sleeping on the sidewalk. And I said, as a former drug user, he probably didn't even mind. And
Yeah.
Blossom shows up
Yeah, so
dressed
she
like
stumbles
Axl
home.
Rose.
Yeah. Backwards hat, shades, baggy t-shirt.
Like, you on the
on the
car,
porch.
Tony? You're on the driveway. Okay.
She tells Tony about what happened, and he knows all about the frat house because he used to party there, apparently. As Blossom sneaks into the house, Joey's working on algebra at the kitchen table, and he's dedicated his life to algebra so that he can meet girls, because X equals Joey, which is a pretty good joke, I thought.
I want that on a shirt. X equals
Right?
Joey. I appreciated
So-
this. She tries to sneak into her bedroom by backing in. So you knew what was going to
Yeah,
happen.
but
No one
she
backs into the
Yeah, doesn't realize
room.
Nick's sitting there on the bed waiting for her to get home. He's calmly telling her to get her shit together so that they can meet up in the kitchen and talk about everything. And the first thing she does is call Six and wakes her up, and we get that diagonal split screen again. And she needs Six to basically come up with a story for her. So Six is like, why don't you just focus on the positive? Like, you're okay. Or whatever it was. I don't remember.
Yeah. See, he's just like almost in shock. Like he's not even angry. He's beyond angry that he's calm, which I thought was a really good way to play it. He's like, I'll just call the cops now, Blossom, and tell them you're not missing anymore. So why don't you change out of someone else's clothes and come meet me in the kitchen? And yeah, like I said, she calls and wakes up Six. Six gives her some okay advice. And we go downstairs, and Terry, the non-rapey med student, is in the living room. And he just brought back her clothes.
Yeah.
Like, thanks, Terry,
Yeah.
thanks. Hey, you must be Blossom's dad. Here's her clothes. Thanks, buddy. Doing
Yeah, and
everyone
also
a favor.
a reminder. It's also like 5 o'clock in the morning here.
Yeah.
So
I said, this guy
anyways,
sucks,
yeah,
but at
he's
the
sitting
same
on the
time,
couch.
I would rather have 3 more seasons of Baxter Stockman than Vinny Buttafuoco. So I kind of hope she dates. I really hope that's where this was going, where at the beginning she's like, it'd have to be someone super cool and important for me to cheat on Vinny. And I was like, please, I'd rather have this guy. But no.
Right. So yeah, the good guy frat dude goes to the house, which I don't know how he knows where it is, but he does his best to like try and bail her out of getting into trouble from Nick, and Nick just kicks him out of the house.
Yeah.
So he's mad at Blossom for lying, and he's saying that she's lucky because it all could have turned out very badly, and rightfully so. I actually agree with Nick here. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
I thought he had a really good line where she tries to use the Six thing. She's like, hey, Dad, the important thing is I'm safe. And he's like, oh, you're not safe, girl. You're in so much trouble.
Yeah.
That was a fun line.
Yeah. Yeah. So they don't even really have a conversation or a conclusion. There's kind of just like a jokey moment here where Six calls Blossom back. She picks up the phone and she says, well, yeah, we're talking about it now. I don't know how long I'm going to be grounded for. Maybe a week. Nick shakes his head. A month. And it like keeps going on like that. And he just keeps shaking his head. And she's like, I guess I won't be going to any frat parties again until I'm actually in college. And then that's like when he nods.
It was
And
kind of fun.
I've got a spoiler. Next episode, we're never going to hear about this again.
Yeah.
Blossom's grounded, but it's not going to stick.
Yep. I wrote, he says, no, you're actually not safe, when she says, the important thing is that I'm safe. She asks what her punishment is, and then Nick crosses his arms, makes the Statue of Liberty disappear, flies, and escapes from Alcatraz, because he's still dressed like David f***ing Copperfield.
Did not notice that at all. That's hilarious.
We come back, and Vinny has his sneakers on the couch like an Did you notice that? He's got his feet on the
What a
couch.
piece of
Blossom's dad hates you.
Oh my God.
So disrespectful.
Yeah.
He's talking
I would
cars
kick
with
him out of the house,
Blossom,
too.
and she's bored, and I'm bored.
Right. So he's saying that he missed Blossom while he was in Las Vegas and that he's fully committed to her, which like I don't even know why that even came up because they weren't talking about it.
Yeah.
Which leads me to be a little more suspicious of that. Anyways, the doorbell rings and Terry's back and he's holding a little paper bag and he goes, "Hey Blossom, good news. The guys at the frat house found your underwear." And then we get a freeze frame on her turning back to Vinny looking all shocked. Yeah.
I saw that joke coming
That's
a
the
mile
end of the
away, and I
episode.
still appreciated it. It was a good
Yeah.
payoff. That was one of like the better endings of a Blossom episode. Usually they don't stick the landing, but I thought that was pretty funny.
They try and always end it on a joke, and I would say it's like 50-50 on whether or not it actually works.
Ooh, I'd say it's more 70-30 that it doesn't work.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll accept that.
All right. Schmock was the script editor once again, and I don't know. We had such a good run there like 3 weeks ago. We had like 3 in a row that were really fun, and then we stumbled after that presidential one. Last week's was getting better. I thought this week was good. We're kind of like getting back in the right lane here with
as
this
I
show.
said, it's one of those things that I feel like they figured out the formula now with streaming and stuff, where there's less episodes and no filler, because we're kind of like mid to almost like past halfway through season 3, and I feel like all these episodes are just filler right now.
And
Like nothing's really advancing story wise, and it probably won't until the end, and we're just kind of getting these like one-off kind of
yep. Knowing
so great
that
episodes.
knowing that Vinny is here forever really kind of hurt my ability to watch these episodes, and have thoughts about that character, because every episode I'd be a little excited, like, okay, is this going to be the one where they break up and they move on? But I know he's here for like another 2 seasons, so I can't even get excited about that or have thoughts about that. You know, I know none of this
Yeah.
means anything
Yeah.
because no matter what arguments they have, he's still here, so it's never going to result in some sort of long-term breakup. So I'm a little sad about that, but I also really hate that character, and he brings nothing to the table.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. He's a really bad addition to the show. And for another character, Rhonda, having her name in the main credits of every episode, she had like one line in this episode,
She
and she
must
hasn't been in it.
be friends with Rio or something. Because yeah, like you said, her name is in the opening credits, and she's barely here. And when she is here, she
Yeah.
has like 30 seconds of screen time, and they never
Yeah.
progress her character at all. We don't know anything about her.
No.
Her grandpa
Yeah.
died or something, didn't he? That's like the only thing we know.
Yeah, and she wasn't even in that episode. It was just mentioned in passing.
Anyway, I already gave you my lesson about med students.
All right, cool.
And
Well,
how
then
they're
shall we
always
go
the
right
most
to the pit?
trustworthy people of all. You can always trust a med student, even if they're undressing you while you're drunk. They'll take the high road. That's what Blossom 1992
Okay, well,
taught us.
There you
We
go.
will fully
Well,
trust a med student.
speaking of the
nerds.
med student, Terry Baxter was played by Christopher Daniel Barnes, not in the pit. He returns 2 episodes later as a character named Farnsworth, and then he appears again in season 5 as a character named Steve. So we will see him again. Did he look familiar to you?
in
Or
the season finale called and he's called Krang.
yeah. No, wasn't he the Fly? Baxter Stockman was the Fly.
I know. You connected
okay.
those dots. He was going to be another Teenage
okay.
Mutant Ninja Turtles character. I guess I could have said Leonardo,
Nice.
but that was a little obvious.
No, I it up. That's on me. Did he look familiar to you, or sound familiar, perhaps?
Baxter Stockman, that guy.
Yeah, yeah.
A little
He
bit.
was-
He sounded familiar. What hit me, blow my
He
mind,
was
Sal.
the voice. He was the voice of Prince Eric in The Little Mermaid.
Shut up.
Yeah,
Yeah, he never
also
has to
played
act again.
Gre-
That
yeah.
Prince
He
Eric
also
money
played
is still
Greg
coming in.
Brady. Yeah, he played Greg Brady in the Brady Bunch movie
Huh.
as well.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. So as far as pit characters go, Brooke Alexander played Miss Quigley. I couldn't find any information on her. Alexander Engbird played Tom the Nerd, and he went on to have a stint as Ensign Vorik in Star Trek Voyager. That's it. That's all I got.
Huh.
That's the pit this week, man.
Prince Eric, man,
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a role. Playing opposite to Jodie Benson. You think they keep in touch? You see, Jodie Benson is
I'm
famous
sure
for
they
like
go
a
to.
million.
I'm sure
things.
they're at like every Comic-Con doing stuff now. You know what I mean? Like,
And I'm sure her line is 10 times as long.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm sure.
What,
he's
you don't want to
bitter
meet?
about
You don't
that.
want to meet Greg Brady from the Brady Bunch movie? He was in that movie with Christine Taylor,
Yeah, call back to Christine Taylor.
right?
I never thought about once until now the person who voiced Prince Eric. That's crazy. For how
Yeah.
many times I've watched The Little Mermaid and how big of a Disney family we are and how big of a Disney nerd I am. I've never once thought about
Right.
who voiced Prince Eric. Where Jodie Benson is like
Didn't,
probably the most famous voiceover person in all of the Disney movies. Huh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did she? Didn't Steve from Full House? Didn't he voice Aladdin?
I think so. Yeah.
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 JTT voiced Simba.
Well, yeah, everybody knows that. He never had to work again. That's what I mean. Like, he still, I bet you,
Yeah.
gets royalties monthly from Lion King crap. Easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's also like I know like the Kingdom Hearts video games where it's like Final Fantasy World kind of meets Disney. They do a pretty good job of getting the actual voice actors. So I'm sure he's done the voice of Prince Eric for like a million things beyond just the movie too. So
But yeah.
yeah.
No justice. Justice for Eric. Justice
Yeah.
for that guy.
All right. Well, that's all I got. That's all my notes for the week. What do we got next week?
Wake up, Phenom.
Curtis is yawning, so we got to get the out of here.
No way.
Next up, season 3, episode 13, Losing Your Religion.
Oh, it gets pretty REM in here, folks.
Don't know.